my heart is so full from what has happened over the past few weeks, months, years that I hope I can just speak spontaneously and say something coherent. Um, Not only did we just have this amazing consecration, which it was not our first consecration, but to be there in the main hall with, actual carpeting on the floor and the majority of a Buddha statue on the altar was just so amazing. It made this one really special. So we had that. And part of what was so touching to me is knowing how much has gone into this. That my ignorance is such that I walk into the building and I see a building as if it has always been there. I wasn't at the Abbey when Chenrezig was built or before Chenrezig. I have only ever known the meditation hall up there in its current form. I've seen photos to know it hasn't always been like that, but I effectively perceive it as if it has always been like that. I perceive this building as, well, this has always been part of the Abbey, and the Abbey has always been here. But I've seen the photos proving to me that that is not the case. And so to sit in the Buddha Hall, there's this interesting kind of cognitive dissonance where, I perceive it as if it's this inherently existent building that has always been there. And yet I've been working on the photo slideshow from the past 3 years to really see, wow, there used to be trees there. There was all of this tall grass and trees, and we tore down other people tore down the trees, and then other people dug a big hole, and just what that process looked like. And so it's interesting to have that cognitive dissonance to know what I am literally perceiving right now and what probably everyone around me, or almost everyone around me, is perceiving is just not the true situation. And then we have the Buddha statue. It's amazing to see it there. It clearly belongs there. Presumably it has always been there. And yet again, there is the photo and video evidence that a month ago it was in the barn. And a few years ago, it didn't exist at all. And so for me, I love being able to work on the photos and videos to constantly go back and look at these things and remember how much has changed. Or in some cases, see before I ever knew it, how much has changed and how much has come together. And so not only did we have a lovely consecration ceremony, and now we have this lovely Buddha statue, but we had the teachings. And to think about how much went into all of the causes and conditions for us to receive those amazing teachings from Serkong Rinpoche. Not just the planning, not just the building of the teaching table and the setting up of the altar, but the long history that we heard about between Venerable Chödrön and this Serkong Rinpoche and the previous Serkong Rinpoche. And all of the karma that we had created to be there for these teachings, for all of the guests that were able to be here with us for those teachings, knowing that not all of the people who RSVP'd had the causes and conditions to actually come. And not only was that, whatever merit we created in this life, but what karma did we create going back to further and further past lives where we established a connection with Serkong Rinpoche, with Venerable Chödrön, again in past lives and with each other. So for me, I can see just literally in my memories what this arc has looked like from 2022 to 2025. And I was here a bit at the Abbey in the years prior to that, seeing where, okay, we've signed the contract with the contractor, where we've unveiled the plans. I saw some of those moments to know that the causes and conditions for all of this go back far beyond 2022. And that's just with my own eyes. So hopefully I can keep using that to remind myself about how the karmic causes and conditions have been over many past lives, far beyond my comprehension. And that therefore in this life, I need to keep creating the karma so that in this and future lives, I have the opportunity to receive teachings like this, maybe to understand them. That's obviously a bit of a stretch. And constantly have the opportunity to be in robes, to practice in a community like this, to share the teachings with others, not necessarily by saying the words myself, but by helping vacuum the floor for an actual qualified teacher. And may I continue to build temples. Again, I wasn't actually the one, turning any screws or pounding any nails, but one way or another, we've all helped contribute to that building. So let's dedicate all of this merit, again, from the past few years of effort and certainly all of the ongoing effort, so that we can do this for lifetimes and lifetimes to come.